Hi everybody.
Hello everyone.
Today we're going to answer the question about salt, whether or not salt is a food that we should be eating.
You start.
Okay, I think the human body is designed to be eating organic food, not inorganic matter. Therefore, it's pretty obvious to me that we shouldn't be eating salt. Whatever's in salt, mineral-wise or whatever there is in there, it's best to get it from plant food. I'm sure it's in fruit too. Obviously, we're long-term fruitarians, so we don't worry about the contents of food. That's not something that we do. We've mentioned that before in a previous video. So salt is an inorganic matter, and it's not something that we should be eating. It's like eating dirt or eating sand or something. It's really not something that I consider a food at all. And if anything, it's something that causes one to overeat because it makes food more addictive.
That's the important word, addictive. Salt is very addictive. The longer you use it, more amount you need. That goes with every addiction. And therefore, the food which is salted is naturally more addictive. The average cooked person, the average person in this world who cooked food or eats cooked food from outside, it's always salted. Maybe there is some special places, but you can't obtain processed food without salt in it.
Yeah, if you go in a supermarket and pick up anything you want that's packaged, anything at all,
even biscuits,
you're almost guaranteed that it's got salt and sugar and oil in it, those three ingredients.
Yes.
And they do it purposefully because, as we've said, when you add salt to food, it makes it moreish, it makes it addictive.
And you know what they do? They put salt in the sweet things like biscuits, cakes, and so on. They put salt in there. So they put more sugar, because when you put salt, you have to put more sugar to disguise that salt. So it's more sweet than it should be, yet you wouldn't say it by the taste, which is different story in USA. To people who come to USA as tourists, they say their food is incredibly sweet, and that is even a savory food, like milk or burgers or what have you. You really feel the sweetness in it, in their breads and stuff. So this is important to understand too, that even if you have cravings for cooked food, you should never put salt in it. You should just boil or steam some vegetables, and that's that. You should not go further than that, if you want to avoid big damage to your body. And we understand the addiction, how dangerous and strong it is. And to be addicted to salt is very tricky thing, because it's tiny little thing. And you said, I just put little bit in, that can't harm me. But believe me, it can harm you a lot. Even it's a tiny bit. Doesn't mean because something is little, it's harmless.
When I sit and talk about these things, I'm remembering back to my childhood. My father used to swear by salt. He was always saying, oh, you got to have your salt. And he would always put salt on his food. I'm talking about cooked, normal flesh and two vegetable meals that I grew up on. He was always putting salt on there. And his logic behind it was that if you don't get enough salt, you end up getting cramps. And I recall as a kid that I questioned this, but at the same time I always accepted that there was some truth to it, that if you don't get enough salt, you'll end up getting cramps. I was never someone that liked to put salt on things. I was always someone that would prefer just very, very little if I had it at all, and too much I didn't like, apart from things like potato chips. So later on as a young man, when I didn't eat much salt, I started getting really bad cramps. And I thought to myself, well, there's a connection here. This is before I started thinking much about food at all. I thought there was a connection, and I would eat something like potato chips, crisps, and sure enough the cramps would stop. But cramps were always something that I was getting, like all my life. Even as a child I would occasionally get cramps, especially in my calf muscles. I would get cramps. And as a young man, I got them too. And I used to think that if I had more salt, they went away. But the reality was, looking back, they never really went away. I was always getting cramps. And I think there was a connection because I think the salt was causing the cramps. And now I don't take any salt at all. And okay, I'd be lying to say that I never had any cramps, but the cramps that I get in my calf muscles, it's been many, many years since I've had those. I get cramp in my foot very rarely. I'm not quite sure why that is. But I don't suffer from cramps anymore like I used to. I was getting cramp on a regular basis. And now that's not the case anymore. So I'm pretty sure that there is a connection between salt and cramp, but it's not the connection that a lot of people like to think it is. It's actually the fact that you're taking the salt, it's causing you to get cramps.
Often the opposite is the truth, and salt is, we can call it silent killer, as they call stress. So those little powders like sugar goes with it as well. They're very dangerous. Also, when I used to crave things, I would buy some, say, corn, and I will eat it raw, but I will buy this Himalayan salt. They said it's a healthy salt, so I thought, oh well, it's healthy salt. It wouldn't give me so bit hard because I was craving that salt in the beginning. And I will put it on it, and I would see the difference straight away next day. That day I ate it, and I didn't put much. It wasn't a big meal. It was just like maybe a cup of corn raw with a bit of salt on it, and I could really notice the difference. And I decide myself, I never eat salt again because actually it gives me more harm than the food itself. Not that corn will give raw corn give me big harm, maybe a bit for me not easy digestion, but still that's my body will give it that easily. Only want to say that don't underestimate salt. If you want to get rid of cravings on a cooked food, you should just cook food at home and don't put salt in there. Put some herbs, put some spices. That's all okay. That's even healing. That have even some healing properties. But salt, it's something like rocks. Like Mango said, it's not even organic matter. It's only what it does for you, it's harm. And also, I read that in Japan, the biggest problem in their diet, even they eat healthy, is the salt. Their diet is very high on the salt because they have this soya sauce and I don't know what everything else. And I have a Japanese friend in the past and she put soya sauce on everything. And I knew one Russian lady, she was growing in Asia, she was addicted to soya sauce and she was drinking it. She was drinking it, and one of my ex-husbands would drink tomato sauce, just like we would drink water.
And it's something that the more you use it, the more you want it. So your intake of salt will increase for most people from when they're a child. A lot of children won't take too much salt, but then because they're taking it and their tolerance for it increases, and they want more and more over the years.
Yeah, that's the nature of that addiction. Anything what's addictive, you will need more and more with the time. More pizza, more salt, more whatever it is. Also, I want to add to that Japan, I didn't finish that, is that they're the highest on, I think, stomach cancer, or definitely something to do with his digestive. You're not sure?
No, I don't.
Anyway, if somebody of you know exactly what it is, let us know in the comments, but I think it's definitely something with digestive system, and I think it's a stomach cancer. Okay, so don't underestimate those little ingredients. I'm going to give little ingredient one more. Good example. This is again, I was craving some things. It was many years later, and I didn't have a salt again for ages. One day I got a silly idea to buy, because I was craving things, to buy this salad dressing in a supermarket. And I bought one which was definitely vegan, which was only like with oil and some herbs and stuff like this. And I made a salad from cucumbers and tomatoes, and I put little bit, because once you stop eating those things, you don't need much to taste the flavor. Actually, you would be surprised if you don't have salt for a few years, and then you have a little bit, how strong, how vicious it is, just the flavor of itself. And this too, so I'm careful also. I never had that dressing before. I think it was some Italian dressing or something like that. So I just a little bit put on. I mix it up in that salad. I ate it. And next day, straight away in the morning, I was all puffed up in my face. I felt different. I really sensed the harm from the tiny bit. I put so little bit that average person would never even consider put so little bit. And yet I tasted and I could see the benefit, which was very negative from it, straight away next day. And who knows what happened next day and next day, because those things sometimes sit in your body for a while before they get out.
One of the things, when you are eating a more pure diet, if you're eating lots of fruit, if you're on a raw vegan diet which is predominantly fruit, then you will notice that your body is much more sensitive to everything. So if you're eating regularly cooked food, whether you're doing raw to four or whatever it might be, or you might be just eating normal diet, you won't notice things. It's not until you wean yourself off of everything that you'll start to really notice the detrimental effects that certain things have on the body.
Yes.
That things that you would never even notice beforehand when you were just eating everything. Like bread, if you're eating bread every day, you may not notice what it's doing to you, but if you stop eating bread and you're eating raw, and at a certain time you go back and you eat just a little bit of bread, it's like instant mucus build up inside you. Your body instantly wants to reject it. But it doesn't reject it if you're having it all the time, because it gives up rejecting it. It's like it's been forced with things all your life. If you're forcing things on the body, it gets lazy and it gives up really. It doesn't try to protest too much because it knows there's no point.
That's right,
Yeah.
because it stopped actually react, because it's so toxic already. It's not detoxing naturally,
Yeah.
you know. So you would not notice
Yeah.
things. Obviously, people who eat everything and overeat on top of it, they don't feel well. And almost everybody, or I can say, it might be only very few people I really know of who would not have a coffee after they wake up to have energy. If they don't have a coffee, they won't function. And this is the thing. People who eat cooked food, they don't realize how much energy they're killing. Then they have to have that coffee to even be able to function in the mornings, to get their head around things and start doing things. And it's considered normal. Coffee in the morning to start the day. For me, it's normal to go on a toilet when I wake up. Straight away, I eliminate. Those people, they go straight away in the fridge and to coffee machine. And that's already a huge difference. Not only in how you're spending your morning, but how you feel within yourself.
Anyway, I think we've said enough about salt.
We said enough.
we've
If you
said more
have
than
some
enough.
extra questions
Yeah.
or points, just please put it in the comments. Also, we love any comments from you, and we appreciate every new subscriber. Welcome to our channel, and to our subscribers who are staying with us. Thank you for staying with us and for interest in such an important topic. And we love you. And don't forget about love. Put away love in your heart, because love is the most important thing in your life, regardless of if you have salt or not in your diet. So, all the best.
Yep. Take care, everybody. See you next week.
Bye.